No, but like pull around to the right. And you can...
That's it. It's gotta be that one. One of the most incredible things about a city like New York is that so much has happened here, so much has started here, that every insignificant corner is important to someone. It has some historic context. And this road here, this is where vlogging started. Every single second, 500 hours of content get uploaded to YouTube. That's 30,000 hours of content every hour, 720,000 hours of content every single day. So how do you get anyone to watch the content that you produce? For the past 3 years, my team and I, we've been cracking our heads and making better videos. We built a studio, we spent hours editing, re-editing, tweaking, researching, and discovering new ways to make better videos. And when we finally hit publish, the first few hours are a rush. And it's not just for the dopamine hit that comes with the likes and the comments and the praise. It's because for us and for millions of creators around the world, YouTube puts food on the table. Every video forces us to rethink and to reinvest. Every thumbnail is a battle against hundreds of other thumbnails. Every day, millions of creators do exactly what we're doing. We're inventing a new way to tell stories. There's something for everybody on YouTube. It's been 15 years since my first kind of viral video, but in the last few years I've been getting deeper and deeper into this genre that I'm really, really passionate about. It's a genre that was born in a New York street back in 1983. It's the genre that defined the first years of YouTube and the first YouTube creators. And when you combine this genre with a documentary, with research, with telling a story, with teaching your audience something new, then it's something really, really special. It's something that only a handful of people have been able to truly master. And I've struggled for many years to find what I was looking for as a creator. My team has seen me rant and scratch and have them rewrite entire projects as we try and solve what it is that we want to make. But after more trials and errors that we can count, after many disappointments, after watching and distilling content from the very best.
Storytelling.
I am terrible at making clickbait. I think that finally we've found a formula, our formula. And it's not perfect, it's never going to be. But when we make a video, we need to second guess ourselves. Every single time we have to try and answer this simple but tricky question, which is this thing that we're working on worth 15 minutes of your time? In a world where our attention spans are shorter, in a world where tuning out is just a swipe away, 15 minutes might as well be an entire feature film. And today, I want to tell you everything that I have learned about YouTube storytelling. All right, so check what I just did there. In the span of a couple minutes, I've given you everything that this video will touch on. It's a preview, yes, but its main purpose is to raise the stakes. It's to create this tension so that you care about what's about to come and so that you stick around. And there's also some personal details in that story. So there's some personal vulnerability. And there's of course new information, probably stuff that you didn't know about, that I didn't know about before I even started writing this script. That's the stuff that we researched. And there's some poor attempts at fun or like pop culture references. But story isn't everything. There are millions of creators out there telling other stories, telling cooler stories. But form is also vital. And I'm gonna get to that in a sec. That 2-minute sequence has a glimpse of everything that this video is going to touch on. It has some of my best shots, it has some of the most careful color grading, the most intense editing and animation, and you're going to see that through the entire video, but never as intense as in those 2 minutes. The difference between an internet video and a normal production is that you have to take into account the way people consume it. When you commit to a TV series, when you commit to a movie, you are committing to spending those 20, 40, or 2-hour time watching it. When you're consuming internet content, then you're just a click or a swipe away from leaving if I just drop your attention for a second. And then balancing that retention with research and with numbers and with telling you stuff that you don't know, maybe that's complicated and hard to explain, is extremely hard. And then before I go into that, I want to go back to that first sequence I showed you.
Get me against not a light background, Dick. Stop pointing at me! You're taking the picture of me!
Because this is Nelson Sullivan, and this is one of the thousands of videos that he shot in the 80s, in a format that would define a generation, my generation. Between 83 and 89, Nelson would bring his VHS camcorder with him to document his New York City life.
Now this was written by Galileo's father.
He ended up developing a hernia from carrying this heavy VHS camcorder around, so he eventually switched to an 8mm camera. And then the lighter camera eventually allowed him to grab it with just one hand and then point it at himself.
Hi, I'm Nelson, and this is my new cable show. This street was full of fairies. Do you want to see? Beautiful on the pier, and it's beautiful here. Now we're home blackout. Aren't we happy? Aren't we the happy dogs? Oh boy, we're hot dogs.
Nelson died in 89, and most of the videos that he had taped were to be lost if it wasn't for this man, Dick Richards.
Okay, stretch. Do you get it yourself? Yeah. Or did they
Dick was Nelson's neighbor as a kid, and then he flew to New York from South Carolina to recover over 600 videotapes that his neighbor had recorded. And for the next decade, he would watch and he would classify over 1,000 hours of footage.
You're gonna have to watch it. I'll be glad to watch it.
At the time, he didn't realize that he was watching truly the first vlog in history. Okay, see what I did there? This could have been descriptive, boring new information, but I turned that into a story because people connect to stories. The reason I even care so much about the history of vlogging is precisely because this platform, YouTube, has always been tied to vlogs.
Hi YouTube, this is Chad and Steve. We're the co-founders of the site.
After the ashes of the dot-com bubble settled, 3 former employees of PayPal decided to start a company of their own. And then more than 15 years after Nelson's death, another vlog was recorded, except this time there was a place for everybody to watch it.
All right, so here we are in front of the elephants. Cool thing about these guys is that they have really long fronts, and that's cool.
And YouTube hosts all kinds of videos, but there's no question that the vlog format has been one of the defining genres on the platform, because people were drawn to these personal stories. They were drawn to the raw footage that contrasted with the studio-lit, scripted content that we had been fed for decades.
Fortnite and Marquez Brownlee.
And it was also around this time that Nelson Sullivan made a comeback, because Dick Richards, with the help of Robert Connington, edited more than 735 videos for the 9th Avenue project.
We're gonna go in here to McDonald's. I guess I'll put my camera down. I want to embarrass Dick to death.
And the tapes eventually made their way here to the NYU library. And they're special because they're not only truly considered the first form of vlogging, but they're special because they also captured a very unique and very ephemeral time, the queer scene of New York City in the 80s.
It's RuPaul.
RuPaul! Hi!
Oh, great. Looks so clean. Finally, I black out. Hi, your royal blackness.
I gotta watch it.
Happy birthday, RuPaul.
Happy
Vloggers defined YouTube in so many ways. New creators were flocking to the platform first to just play around and discover this new medium. And to this day, vlogs are the most watched YouTube content genre. And people like glimpses into other people's lives. They love this. They care about their opinions. They care about their takes. They connect with the audience on a level that feels much more intimate. But I haven't talked about arguably the most important category in the content that we write, which is resolution.
If you've successfully set up tension in your story, you've now earned the ability to resolve that tension with some solution.
So if you've done your craft well, you should have taught your audience something new. You used resources to connect with them, you kept them entertained, and now you get to draw a conclusion. Now you get to plant an idea in their head. Now, I am not a pure vlogger. I don't think I have the charisma, or my life is generally not interesting enough to make videos about it, but vlogging is one key piece of what I do and what we do at Slidebean. Our eternal challenge is figuring out a way to tell stories, to teach something, to tell new information while leveraging the format of the platform that we're in. Another reason why I'm really excited every time I'm in New York is that it's a bit of a central hub for everybody to stop by or to come for some reason. I'm meeting an old friend for lunch that you might have heard about. Is that recording? Celebrity walking down the street. Is that recording? Is that recording? I knew it's recording! You always record. And it's not an easy task. It's a task that very few have been able to master. This guy, in my opinion, leading the way for everybody else.
Tension is like the spice to a story. It gives you a sense of stakes and weight that keeps people wondering what happens next.
And every day I work on this, I'm fascinated by what YouTube has become. It's a creative pool where there are few rules and you can create anything that you want, anything, and make a living from it. I studied digital animation in college. Started back in 2007, took me too long to graduate. But the point is that back then, the YouTube Partner Program didn't exist. YouTube didn't have ads, and creators could make no money from their content. My generation witnessed, as adults, how being a creator became a profession. And of course, it took some of us longer than others to figure out what we could do with this new superpower that Web 2 had given us. But others took this much quicker and ran with it. Casey Neistat, for example, he reinvented the raw, low-quality vlog format that we had seen so far by bringing this filmmaker vision into the mix. And just like Nelson in the 80s, bringing a new kind of camera into a mix of low-quality, low-resolution cameras that we had seen so far.
This is the sausage being made. Fumbling with gear, a lens in each hand, trying to make it work.
And I envy my daughter so much. In her head, her father makes a living making YouTube videos. Imagine what that generation can do when they don't have the boundaries that were set on us. Now, I've spent all this time talking about how we approach the story, telling a story while teaching something, but the story is only part of this thing. I told you about the history of vlogging because that is another element that has been key to this platform since the get-go, and that it absolutely can't be ignored. And travel is another one too. People are drawn to new and exotic locations, and we are incredibly lucky to have the chance to fund or mix travel with other business plans and use this as an advantage against other channels that don't have the budget yet. Before I came to India, there was one word in my head to describe this country: chaotic. You can only really experience a city if you're on a scooter, not in a car. We also think a good video should convey a clear emotion. It determines what music we use, in which tone we narrate, how fast we edit, and last but not least, production value. YouTube will absolutely forgive you for raw footage that might be out of focus or badly framed, because people mainly want to connect with the creator, not that content that's too perfect or too stiff. That might subconsciously feel like corporate content. But at the same time, YouTube appreciates when creators take their time to craft visuals, and we spend a lot of time on that. Those animations are one of our biggest differentiators, and we care about other production stuff too. Like, you wouldn't guess how this kitchen living room looks just so that we can get decent audio and decent lighting here. I think that the mix of raw footage with well-framed, well-lit shots, with some hard-to-find animation, with some vlogging, with some storytelling, like this mix can truly make your content stand apart. And what we can see on our end is numbers and metrics. We can see views and likes and dislikes and how much of the video you actually ended up watching. And we, of course, bite our nails every single time that we publish a video to understand how it actually went. But in the end, what those metrics are really reflecting are whether we were able to connect with you through what we do. But this is, in the end, what pays for it all, if you think about it. The fact that the knowledge that you can bring to people has an impact in their lives. The fact that this connection that I have now with 500,000 people every month is something that I had no idea could be done. It couldn't be done. So we are so late to this game. There's nothing else that we can do but just learn and reinvent ourselves every single time, every day. Thanks a lot for watching. Hold on, just one last announcement. We had been holding off on posting this video until a milestone that we needed to reach. That's some tension for you right there. And it happened this week. This week, we finally had a video that we produced following this method hit 1 million views. So my media team and I are sort of embracing what this YouTube channel is, what this YouTube channel has become. And it's something that's maybe bigger than our software or bigger than the presentation services we do. What can happen if we continue to tell these great stories, if we dedicate more time, if we travel to more tech hubs, if we find more stories, if we dedicate more of my time to storytelling and to crafting this stuff.
How much do you want to bet?
We'll bet what, 20 bucks? We don't know, but we are so excited about it and we definitely want to test it out. One other thing we're doing today after this milestone is launching our YouTube membership. And we wanted to create something different, something special for you guys. And probably the biggest feature or the coolest feature that we're doing around that is that we're doing office hours through this community. Those will be live sessions. We'll be able to chat and interact. It'll be a Zoom call or whatever. It'll be live stream. And there's gonna be a bunch of other cool stuff. We're gonna give you the scripts as soon as we have them, and you're gonna see how color-coded they are based on the actual method that I was just talking about. A bunch of exclusive videos, early access to the videos. We're gonna make wallpapers out of the 3D maps that we've been doing for most of our Planet videos. So we're trying to come up with something that's different and cooler. And we understand that these YouTube memberships aren't for everyone, but it's part of this experiment of understanding, well, what if we are more than a SaaS platform or an agency? What if we are also a bit of a media company? And we wanna know what happens with that. And of course, all of the revenue that we generate through the YouTube membership stuff, we're gonna dedicate to just making better and cooler videos. So you know where to find that join button. Thanks a lot for watching and thanks a lot for supporting our channel, and we'll see you next week.